Hello everyone and welcome back to another album review, and in this video I'm going to review Dedicated by Rae Jepsen. Rae Jepsen is back with one of my most highly anticipating pop albums of this year, probably my most highly anticipated one. Since the release of the album Emotion, I was definitely looking forward to what she would come up with next. Years passed by though, and I was worried if this was going to be the last project from Rae Jepsen, if that was just her last effort and we were talking about a one-hit wonder. Even though she has released some previous stuff before, like Tug of War and Kiss, it was the album Emotion that made her blow up. And truth be told, she deserved it, because Emotion is definitely one of my favorite pop albums of this decade. The album did not do something all that unique and special for pop standards. In a sense, it's kind of your typical pop album. So many people just get confused of what's the appeal of this certain album in particular, because lots of people do not see the main appeal, the main reason why this album in particular completely blew up, getting recognition from lots of people who are not that much into pop. And yeah, it's not because we're talking about a very special album, something really unique, something really groundbreaking, or having something cutting edge with its production or with the vocals. It has everything that it's appealing for a pop album. It's catchy, it's fun, it has some nice melodies, some choruses that are infectious, instantly memorable, addictive, production is nice, vocals are nice, and other than that, it just follows your standard pop formula when it comes to some of the structures of the songs. It's not rocket science, it just happens for Emotion to be a more consistent album that doesn't only focus for some specific great singles and then an album that sort of feels filler with the rest of the songs. Emotion is a consistently good album that you can easily listen from start to finish, and you can find some deep cuts having the same energy and appeal as some of the singles. So with that being said, yeah, I was hoping for the next Rae Jepsen release, and I'm really glad we got it. Of course, I was not anticipating that Dedicated was going to be like far better from Emotion, but I was hoping that we would at least get another solid album and that it wouldn't fall for some of the traps of just some really bland modern pop standards. And yeah, taking Dedicated is not that great of an album compared to Emotion, but we still have a really solid, fun and catchy pop album, and in my opinion it's definitely one of the best things you can find in pop music from this year. Rae Jepsen's comeback is really solid. In my opinion though, what makes this album not as great as Emotion is that it doesn't sound all that consistent. In my opinion, this album manages to have a bigger of a focus to some of its singles, sounding way more catchy, way more memorable, and way more fun, and having some of the deep cuts not being up to par with some of the amazing moments like in the first leg of the album with the three first tracks, like Julien, No Drag Like Me, and Now That I Found You. Of course, that doesn't mean that there are not exceptions on the rules on both sides. Like for example, in my opinion, the single Too Much was the weakest single out of this entire album. I wasn't really all that crazy about this track. It didn't feel as fun and as energetic in comparison to some of the previous tracks, and it was just a decent and okay moment. And in my opinion, yeah, I don't see that much of the appeal. On the other hand, we have songs like Automatically in Love, which in my opinion it would fit way better as a single, because this is an amazing track. I like the whole structure to it. It's a really tight pop song, and I especially love the vibe of the song Feels Right, featuring Electric Guest. The combination of the vocals especially on this thing, the vocal inflections, they sound really good. The song in itself has a lot of 80s vibes, there is a disco party feel, or something that you could say it's closer to some trashy 80s or 90s pop. Like I would never see myself in the past enjoying a song like this, but here we go. Feels Right is an extremely enjoyable and nice song. And like I said, I think the album has an extremely solid start. It starts with three great songs, back to back. Julien, No Drag Like Me, and Now That I Found You are 3 great songs in order to open this album. They're catchy, they're fun, every single refrain on this thing is memorable, and there is some nice production, especially with the song Julien. I like the thick bass lines on this thing, they sound gorgeous. Then after this point is where you see the album to fall a bit off at the middle section of it. There are some tracks that feel a bit more silly, not that well developed, and some of the structures feeling a bit off, or just sounding more bland and basic, but not to the memorable side of things. There are not that much of these occasions, but some tracks like Everything He Needs and I'll Be Your Girl sound way too silly and not all that impressive. It's like a more cutesy and immature side of Carly that it doesn't work all that much in favor of some of the more a bit emotional and catchy and fun tracks. The thing though that it baffles me about this album the most is that why is Party for One a bonus track? Why is it in the deluxe version? The album has 2 bonus tracks. Now the track for sure is another decent moment of the album, it's another okay song, but Party for One is a great single, it's an amazing song, and it's a really good way to end the album. Real Love does not feel that much of a finisher, so I'm just wondering, why is this not in the physical releases? Why is this only in a digital version on Spotify and the other platforms? Why is this a bonus track? Why is this in a deluxe version? It's unfair. It's unfair. It's one of the best moments of the album. Even with these 2 songs missing though, we're still talking about a decent pop album that has some great moments. In just 13 tracks and a 42-minute long album, Carly Rae Jepsen does a decent job once again with a great comeback after a highly praised album. Even though it doesn't manage to be all that well structured, crafted, and as well developed and consistent as Emotion, it's still an album that has lots of great moments that don't hold it back to be one of the greats, not only for this year, but for this decade in general. This is a really solid pop album with solid production, solid vocal deliveries, some missteps through halfway of the album, but with all that being said, Dedicated is a definite recommendation for fans of Emotion and for people who are just looking for a solid pop release of this year. I'm going to give Dedicated a 7+ out of 10. What's your opinion on this album? Like it, dislike it, why, and what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.